What's beyond Neptune? At about 30 astronomical units from the Sun, and we know that 1 AU is the Earth-Sun distance, that is 150 million kilometers, lies a vast three-dimensional ring made of icy objects and cometary nuclei, mostly short-period comets. We arrived at the Kuiper Belt. In 1943, an Irish astronomer, Kenneth Edgeworth, assumed that there has to be something beyond Neptune. 8 years later, Gerald Kuiper wrote articles claiming that even if there was a belt of icy objects of various sizes, Neptune's and Pluto's gravity, let me add that Pluto was believed a giant back in those days, stripped every object away. In 1992, scientists received evidence of the existence of the belt. And as Kuiper's name was the most prominent as far as the topic is concerned, it was named after him. It's kind of ironical, taking into account that he did not believe in its existence. The Kuiper Belt is not the asteroid belt. While the region between Mars and Jupiter is made of rocky and metal celestial bodies, the Kuiper Belt's objects are frozen gases, nitrogen, ammonia, methane, and water ice. The Kuiper Belt is 20 times wider than the asteroid belt. Its mass is somewhere 20 times, somewhere 200 times larger. But there's a paradox, because physical models suggest that its mass should be several thousand times that of the asteroid belt. We discussed in the asteroid belt video, if you haven't seen it, you can rewatch it anytime, that its mass is less than our moon's. The curiosity about Kuiper Belt is that 99% of the material disappeared. Scientists have no idea where it's gone. We only have assumptions. One of them is that Neptune's gravity swallowed it. Others claim that a star passed nearby, but there are also theories of a black hole. But we'll discuss it later. If the asteroid belt is made of objects of a failed planet, then the Kuiper Belt is pristine building blocks of the solar system, 4.5 billion years old. And there is another weird thing about the Kuiper Belt. Namely, that at about 50 astronomical units away, there's a kind of invisible wall. The density of material suddenly drops to zero. Again, we have no idea why. Some suppose that it is done by the planet Nine's gravity. Astronomers were fascinated by Planet 9 since the beginning of the 20th century. They tried to calculate it just like they did Neptune, but it brought no result. Then in 1930, a self-taught astronomer, an ordinary boy from a farmer family named Clyde Tombaugh, discovered Pluto by thorough and long observations. The astronomical world rejoiced that Planet 9 was finally found. But this celestial body did not even make 1/3 of its orbit, because its orbit is 248 years before it was no longer Planet 9. In 2006, the International Astronomical decided that Pluto was no longer a planet. But if they assumed that it was an old, boring celestial body, they were wrong. They were proved wrong by the probe New Horizons, which reached the Kuiper Belt in 2015. When it completed a flyby near Pluto, it discovered curious things. For instance, Sputnik Planitia. It is a white, heart-shaped plain with no craters, despite the expectations, which means that the surface is young and alive. Pluto is characterized by cryovolcanism. So unlike volcanoes on Earth, there's no glowing lava, but nitrogen ice. And although Pluto's surface is extremely -230 degrees Celsius cold, there is likely a liquid ocean beneath the icy crust. Charon is Pluto's largest moon. But while moons usually orbit their planets, in case of Pluto and Charon, they orbit each other. Pluto's rotation is 6 days. Charon's orbit is 6 days as well. Due to tidal forces, they always show the same side to each other. So if you stood on one hemisphere of Pluto, you would never see Charon. If you stood on its other hemisphere, you would not see the moon rise or set. You would see it hanging overhead all the time. And now let's discuss a few more eccentric TNOs, that is trans-Neptunian objects, but this list is not complete because we'll deal with them in the upcoming episode as well. Haumea. This celestial body is also called the rugby ball. Its spin is insane. A day lasts less than 4 hours. So the centrifugal force prolonged it, made it egg-shaped. Let's start with the pronunciation of this little devil. It's not Makemake, as it would be convenient for us. It was named after an Easter Island creator god, so why would it be convenient for us to pronounce it? It should be pronounced as Makemake. This object has almost no atmosphere, but it's extremely cold. So what we see in red is not a dusty or rocky surface, but methane being solid snow. Eris is not the Mad King from the Game of Thrones, but mad enough. It's its fault that poor Pluto was dethroned. It was discovered in 2005 by Mike Brown and his team. Although it's smaller than Pluto in diameter, its mass is 27% larger. So, if Pluto is planet 9, Eris should be planet 10. And as there were lots of other objects in the Kuiper Belt, they would eventually be planets as well, which would create chaos in educational system. Therefore, the International Astronomical Union created a new category, that is dwarf planets. So Pluto, Eris, Haumea, Makemake, Eris, and others have been dwarf planets ever since. Speaking about astrology, no one demolished Pluto. It is in its best place, being the ruler of Scorpio. Pluto makes us face a dark side, or demons. And it's not that Pluto is a villain, but it's that every creature existing has a shadowy side. On high level, Pluto is transformational. Poetically saying, it leads through a tunnel of darkness to light. On low level, however, it can be manipulative and even cruel. A fourth house, Pluto, especially with heavy aspects, may indicate a sadistic father. A 12th house, Pluto, may be a sign of mental disorders. Forming a conjunction with the Sun or ascendant, it may be a sign of outstanding leadership skills. I can see you skeptics shaking your head that, oh, again this astrological humbug. But get this, Eris is the goddess of discord. Her golden apple provoked the Trojan War. What did she do in the astronomical world? Provoke discord, which lasts up till now, because there are those, for instance, Jared Isaacman, who still say that Pluto has to be a planet. In karmic astrology, Eris indicates drastically changed circumstances. Now it transits in Eris, ruled by the god of war. How surprising that so many geopolitical conflicts ignite across the world nowadays. Did you think that there was nothing beyond Neptune? Gerard Kuiper thought the same. Now, do you think that we've discussed everything? No. Join me next time to learn more about the curiosities and mysteries on the frozen edge of our star system.